Time for another free NBA pick. We're talking the 76ers at the Heat, and the Heat is on. They lead the series by 1. My name's Allie Burns from Picks and Parlays. And don't forget about our sponsor. It's Caesars Sportsbook. They've got a great deal for all new accounts. They're hooking you up with up to $1,100 in first bet insurance. You want to check out the description of this video, find the link, and get your money. Get yourself hooked up. With me today from ASA, I've got Lee here to give us the NBA free pick. What's going on, Lee?
Not too much, Ellie. How about yourself today?
I'm rocking and rolling, man. NBA playoffs. It was a fun first round. Let's see what the second round brings to us here. So we're talking Sixers at the Heat. Embiid's still out. We all know that. It's the Heat -8. The total's 207 and a hook. What do you say here?
I am you're right. Typically, some older handicappers talk about the zigzag theory and would back Philly in this situation, but I'm going to stay with the Heat here -8. In analyzing that first game, the Heat didn't have a great shooting night by any means. They shot just 43% overall. They were 9 of 36 on their three-point attempts. That's 25%, and they still won by 14. I don't think the Heat's poor offensive numbers were a byproduct of Philly's defense either. The 76ers were 12th in defensive efficiency this season, along 1.108 points per possession. They allowed opponents to make 45.8% of their field goal attempts and 34.6% of their three-point attempts. So I certainly don't think it was a defense. I think Miami just kind of had an off night shooting. I expect the Heat, who were 10th in offensive efficiency this season, and the number one three-point shooting team in the NBA at 37.9%, to bounce back here in game 2 at home. So I expect a much better shooting performance by them. And you can see the difference for Philly without Embiid. You know, the 76ers right now have to rely heavily on James Harden, who has never been good in the playoffs to begin with. This season, when the Sixers have Embiid and Harden on the floor, they are a top 5 offense. Without Embiid, they're a bottom 5 offense. So that's just how important he is to this team. Harden had just 16 in that first game on 13 field goal attempts. Miami has multiple players that can throw at him defensively. And one big key advantage that's kind of gets overlooked here in this game is Miami is second in the NBA in defensive rebounding this season. Philly is 29th in offensive rebounding. So when they're not making shots, they're not getting additional attempts. You know, Miami was 29-12 straight up at home in the regular season. They won those games by an average of 5.6 points per game. In the playoffs, they're 4-0 with an average margin of victory of 12.75. They've covered 6 of their last 7 at home, and Philly's just 2-7 against the spread their last 9 on the road. So I'm going to ignore the zigzag theory here, and I'm gonna stay with Miami at home and lay the points.
Zigzag schmigzag is what I always say. All right. End of the day, if the Sixers can't take the Heat, they got to get out of the playoffs. And that's kind of what it's looking like here. They are in a must-win spot. Like, I'll give them that. 8 points is a lot of points. You're kind of in that must-win because you don't want to go home, behind 2. You got to make up time. Embiid's supposed to be back for 3, right?
Yes. Yep. Potentially for game 3. Yep.
And that, to me, adds more motivation to the Heat side because they want to grab this win now while they can, because if they go back to Philly and Embiid is indeed there, this whole thing could change real quick. So I never lay 8 points, Lee. You know that's not how I roll. But in this case, it seems like the play to make. So I can't even disagree with you on this one. So tell the people what's going on over at picksandparlays.net. How are you guys doing? And what can the people expect to find when they get there?
And Friday, we do like one of the matchups potentially in the NBA, so they can check that out on Friday. But we're cooking right now. We're 12-4 all sports. We're on an 8-0 NBA run dating back to April 28th. We're on a 6-0 run in Major League Baseball in the last 6 days. So it's going really well right now.
I'm looking at the leaderboards right now. You guys are number 1 in the NBA. You are also number 1 on the hot cappers list as well, and number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for all picks over 2022. So you guys are crushing stuff over there is what you're doing. So keep doing it. And then for any of our viewers that want to start crushing stuff as well, get on board with ASA and use the promo code NBA. That's going to save you 20% off whatever you decide to purchase. You guys are hot in NBA, hot in the MLB. Go get those picks, those winning picks from ASA. And until then, we got to roll with the Heat -8. Just hold your nose and take the bet. Sometimes that's what you got to do, people. Good luck, everyone. Thanks, Lee.